Oh, yeah, getting my groove on. That's some new intro music from StreamYard there. I didn't know. Man, I just hang on. Let me just play that intro. No, I'm kidding. Welcome. Hi. Welcome to the Cigar Professor. If you can't tell, I'm in a really, really, really good mood, but I don't want to break the news as to why just yet. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do that with Professor Damo. We'll break the news together. But I tell you what, you guys are bright and early because we had multiple comments from multiple different people before the show had even started. So Stephen, you were first, so you can claim the honors. First comment and welcome. Thank you for watching. Honor the point. Hi to you too, Mr. Stu. Hi to you, Udo. Again, hi to you, and amazing that you guys are jumping in early and saying hi. So we thank you very much for that. This is going to be a cracker of a cigar. This is the Zino Platinum. Now, we've had this in a much smaller Vitola before, and I loved it so much I bought a bunch of the little tins of them, and I cannot wait. I am so looking forward to this. Tim, welcome as well. Just heading down to the beach to light up. What in the world? How are you near a beach, Tim? You're going to have to explain yourself, young man. How are you near a beach? And well-earned patina. You sounds like you're a well-aged gentleman or lady. Who knows? Haven't seen your name around here before, so welcome and thanks for saying hi. All right, I can't delay any longer. I'm going to bring on Mr. Damo, Cigar Professor himself, and share the great news with you. Damo, are you in as good a mood as I am right now?
Well, I am. I'm actually trying some new stock that arrived yesterday, so I'm enjoying a sampling. So,
well, see, I actually thought that you were just taking the place of someone else and doing what he would normally do, but he
this is true too.
When I saw not here,
I know when I saw he wasn't backstage, I was like, I better light up a cigar because it's sort of almost ritualistic now to start the show with someone smoking a cigar already. So
someone has to have started early. Someone has to have been rude.
That's right.
Someone has to be that guy. I really appreciate you doing it. But just quietly between you and me, how exciting is this?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. This might be the first show he doesn't make it.
This is the one thing that he's had over me since the Cigar Professor started was that he has been to every single episode. And I'm sorry to say I haven't. And my excuses haven't always been as good as yours, Damo. You haven't made every episode either, but your excuses are like genuine medical stuff, which are better than my excuses.
Yeah, so I'm either in hospital having chemo or I'm in the middle of nowhere blowing stuff up. So they're both legitimate excuses.
I have to take a bit of a hit to my pride here and say that I'm the piss weak one who has had the most leave. I've had the most leave of absences for the worst reasons. And boy, does Damo let me know about that every damn time I see him. But today, fingers crossed, we'll see how we go. It is early in the evening. Damo, tell me about this cigar. This smells and looks absolutely gorgeous.
Well, look, the reason I'm really excited about this one is that it has Peruvian tobacco in it. Now, I have been trying to track down an all Peruvian purito for us to, a puro rather, for us to try, but still haven't got there yet. But this is the closest that we're going to get to having a good go at a decent amount of Peruvian tobacco, just to see how we enjoy it. Now, the interesting thing with Peruvian tobacco is that it is known for having boldness in flavor, but is not bold in its nicotine strength. So you get the benefit of a nice, strong, bold flavor without the whack from it.
Well, that'll be interesting because Mr. David Leinhelm himself is joining us tonight, and will be able to give us his feedback on whether he agrees with that particular assessment. I've already cut, and I'm on the cold draw. I am getting a tasting note I have never had in a cigar before. It's in the vein of a peppermint, but it's almost heading towards a menthol. And But there's more to it than that. It's richer than that. It's deeper than that.
It's almost got a little bit of a confectionery-like note to it, hasn't it?
Yes, like a licorice, maybe. There's like a licorice log.
And there's even on the cold draw, there's a little bit of a sweetness. I mean, it could be just the fact that I'm, having a Connecticut with a little bit of bitterness there, but
you might be ruining your own taste buds. Yes.
Mm.
No, I'm going to say it does not surprise me that this contains tobacco the like of which we've never had before, i.e., from Peru, because that cold draw is the like of which I've never had before.
It's also got one of our absolute favorite wrappers. It is an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper.
Good
That's
stuff.
one of our favorites. It's every time we have an Ecuadorian wrapper, we always love the cigar. So I've got high expectations for the cigar tonight.
Well, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I tell you, based on this aroma and that cold draw, my expectations are high as well. Dan, I think you're right. It's the mint leaves lolly. That's probably the closest of any of us so far. You remember those, like the mint, the leaf shaped,
the one with the little sugar all over it.
Yeah. It's a bit of that. All right, I'm going to dive in.
It's a nice firm pack as well, very firm pack. So I'm hoping it's a good burn time as well.
But the draw is perfect. The draw is so easy. So good. All right, I've got the Cigar Professor single jet, or actually, it's the one that switches between. There we go. Give it a nice toast. Start out nice and slow.
So I have to ask, are we classifying this show as your birthday show, or is next month going to be your birthday show?
Oh, that's a great question. So I've been meaning to get in touch with you, but you're busy, I'm busy, and I actually haven't chatted with you about this yet. So let's have a private chat in public, shall we?
Oh, that is nice.
Isn't that beautiful? Very
graham crackery for me on the light up.
Bready, graham cracker.
Yep.
This is Monte Cristo white label. The white. Yeah, it was the Monte Cristo white. This is that. With
Great.
Shades.
Like production. And there is definitely like I've already got a palate that's been exposed to some cigars, so lighting this up, it's actually got some nice boldness to it that I'm actually still able to
but it's still very clearly a Connecticut. I'm going to say this is between the Monte Cristo White and the Lot 23. You remember the Perdomo Lot 23?
Yes.
We got that in quite a chunky Vitola. We had that in. I don't remember specifically what it was, but it was quite chunky. This is somewhere between those two, and that is a compliment because those are two very good cigars.
And it's not wispy light smoke like you often get from a Connecticut either on initial light. But it's definitely got some body to that smoke.
No. But I think the reason I'm enjoying it so much is just because Omar's not here. I think that's the main cause of my joy, right? And just sort of this deep, abiding sense of lasting pleasure. Like this is a whole new. I've never had a Cigar Professor without that rotten, annoying,
just the two of us
excuse for an oxygen thief. Just really killing my joy.
Well, actually, you know what? With Trump's new demands, we don't need to have him on the show anymore. We no longer have to have DEI quota fulfillment.
Has he been shipped off to Ecuador? Is he in one of those prisons?
Quite possibly.
This day just keeps getting better.
You could imagine him being in Ecuador. He'd be chain smoking like there's no tomorrow.
I mean, let's give the devil his due. If he was shipped off to one of those prisons, it would not be long before he was running the prison. Like he would own everybody else in there within a matter of weeks. But honestly, I'm going to call Donald now and just find out whether Omar was on the passenger manifest for any of those flights.
You can see him being a tobacco baron over there, working his way up through the criminal elements in the country and becoming the tobacco baron.
Yeah, absolutely. He'd be the one they all turn to for contraband. Oh crap!
What's going on?
Oh, hi. How are you? Great to see you.
It was a vehicle accident on the M5, so it took me like extra bit of time to get here.
And you weren't one of the vehicles?
I was good.
Clearly I didn't pay them enough. They hit the wrong target.
Yeah, they did.
That's a shame.
I guess what's going to happen to you now?
All that stuff that we said that you probably heard. Look, we were just joking. That was just all jokes. We're not hoping that Donald Trump is going to
made me wait
deport you. I haven't sent him a text message with your name and address at all. I wouldn't do a thing like that.
So nothing yet.
So we have lit up and we're loving it so far. But I'd be curious to get your thoughts.
Is that what we got?
Yeah, that's what we got.
Indeed. Have you lit yet, or are you about to?
Yeah, just about to.
Do a cold draw. Give us your feedback on the cold.
Yeah. Cold draw.
Ooh.
It's a bit different.
It's got a... Did you guys get citrus in the cold draw?
Not quite. I was more on the side of peppermint.
So to me, it's like a dry fruitiness in there as well.
Yeah.
Tangy, something citrus, dry fruitiness.
I think the tang is what was coming through. And for me, I interpreted that more on the side of a spearmint or almost a licorice. And your palate's gone a different way.
Licorice, yes.
Yeah.
100% licorice. They got
I was picking up some sort of confectionery note. It was reminding me of we agreed that it was like, you know, those little spearmint lollies with the sugar on the outside, the little green leaves.
Sweeter, because this is sweet. This is sweet. This is definitely sweet. Yeah, that could be it.
Udo's on the same page as us as well.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, you, me, definitely. Udo. Now I think I'm probably over smoking it. Actually, I think I just got excited because Omar wasn't here, and I was just chomping away on this cigar, you know, just so happy. For a moment in time, I was happy.
This is a really, really just easy to approach cigar, isn't it?
I'm genuinely loving everything about this. The texture, like you mentioned before, the texture of the smoke is not light and wispy. It's got body. It's a chewy smoke, but the aroma is not at all harsh. Doesn't make you want to cough. It doesn't burn the back of the nasal cavity. It's just everything about this cigar is spot on as a bold Connecticut.
Absolutely beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Not you. This is a Robusto size, but I would almost argue that this is a little bit between a Robusto and a Toro.
Almost. Yeah.
You know, I'd maybe call it like a Robusto plus.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And Robusto for sure.
Peter, sorry to hear that. That sucks when that happens.
Yeah.
Do you have one of these? Do you have a perfect draw or a similar tool just to open that up?
The other thing you can also try, Peter, that often I do with a plug cigar, is as it's warming up, I just gently massage it and roll it, and you find a spot on the length of the cigar that's just that little bit harder and firmer than the rest of the pack. When you find that spot, just sort of gently massage it without squashing it too much back and forward, and that sometimes will help open it up as well.
Omar, Cigar Man Sam's got a question about your beard. What is with that hair on your face? I tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Cigar Man Sam. It's been a while since we've seen you on the show. It's nice to have you with us again.
Yeah.
Always good.
Good to see you.
I haven't had a cigar with Cigar Man Sam for an awful long time, longer than I care to remember. So he owes me at the moment. So
yeah, he does. Maybe the Saturday week.
Okay.
All right. Cigar Man Sam has clarified.
Your head.
He wants to know what's going on with the hair on my head. I think everyone would love to know what's going on with the hair on my head. I'll tell you.
That's the Mopo
lot. So this happened quite randomly, actually. I was down in Melbourne filming my podcast with Carly, as I do, and I'd forgotten to bring a hairbrush with me. And so the next morning I stayed at the in-laws place down in Melbourne, and then the next morning I was jumping on a train heading home, got coffee in the morning and so forth. And everyone was being super, super nice to me and really unusually nice, and just different people who didn't know me, random people, person after person, just being really, really lovely. And I was trying to understand why, because I'm not used to people being nice to me, and it was quite confusing. And I realized the only thing that was different, I was wearing the same clothes, all the rest of it. The only thing that was different was that I hadn't done my hair, and I had this whole wild kind of mop of curls going on up the top. So I put a photograph of it up on my Facebook page and said, okay, what do you think? Like, does this make me look friendlier and a little bit less scary and intimidating or something? Like, is this the reason? And the consensus was that more people liked it than not. So I went, you know what? If it's going to save me from actually having to do my hair, then I'm all for it.
Your whole life needs to be done, so might as well the hair as well on the list. There's nothing happening.
Listen, don't judge what you don't understand, all right? Nothing wrong with my life.
Hey, now I've actually got something too. I was watching your videos last week, and you put some of your old videos posted into the modern ones, doing a bit of a retrospective look. And I noticed you had quite the dapper hat in one of those videos.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That did happen. I still have that hat. Actually, I could probably run and get it right now if you if you ask me particularly nicely. Yes, I do indeed have a hat that would be right at home in your portfolio of hats, Mr. Damo.
Yes, well, I appreciated that hat. Put it that way.
Well, why would I cover up such a gorgeous head? That's my question.
Well, as my late uncle used to say, that God made all men bald and covered the ugly ones with hair. So,
yes, I agree.
Well, Cigar Man Sam has a strong opinion on this one.
Yeah,
get the hat and wear it. All right. Give me a minute. Let's let me get settled, and then I'll head off and get the hat.
Yeah, just go.
I think I'm getting fleeting moments of that licorice note coming through on that cigar. Yeah. It's really nice.
It is. Look, it's beautiful, and it is still just on the very edge of menthol, and that's not an insult. That's not a bad flavor. There is something. It's in that peppermint menthol. It's a little bit sharper than just licorice, like a really strong aniseed or something like that.
Yeah. Look, aniseed or you call that fennel seeds. You know, when you bite on them and they have the bitter part in it, that's what it reminds me of.
And that matches perfectly what I was getting on the cold draw.
Yeah. Yeah. Still sweet. Still got sweetness in it.
Oh yeah. Very approachable. It's in that lovely range of cigars that you could give to a new cigar smoker, and it's not going to overpower them. But it's interesting enough for people like us who have smoked, hundreds of cigars. In Omar's case, hundreds of cigars this week, and it's still interesting. It's still an enjoyable cigar for us.
And isn't that so much the way that Davidoff do their cigars? Like every time I've had a Davidoff cigar, it's always fit that category.
Yeah.
See, but the Davidoff branded cigars have their own signature sort of flavor to them. I'm actually really pleased that they've branched out of just the Davidoff branded cigars, because it's given them the freedom to explore more, and the quality of what they do is outstanding, but there's not a lot of variety in their branded range.
And same as Camacho as well. They do a really good job at Camacho as well.
Yeah.
This is a really nice stick, and it's not a bad burn as well. It's burning really beautifully.
Yeah, lovely.
A little bit wonky, but nothing that's concerning, and it's also burning fairly slowly too. So I think we're going to have a good smoke out of this tonight.
Yeah, mine's burning a bit faster, but that's user error. I'm going to put it down and go get a hat, just because why not?
Okay, not to come back. It's okay. We might have a big Saturday week.
Is your cigar also quite a firm pack on this as well? That was one of the things I noticed.
Same as you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Usually when we get a firm pack cigar, you generally expect to get a bit longer on the burn time with the extra tobacco in there. And there's also a decent amount of weight on this cigar too, compared to a standard Robusto.
Yeah. With the do you remember we had this cigar in a very small vitola as well?
Mm-hmm.
That was such a pleasure to have that cigar back then.
That was in a little cigarillo size.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was a 4x28 or 30, something in that sort of size from memory.
Yeah. And look, it could be 30. I don't know, but it was really nice.
Yep.
It was one of those. Yeah, it was really nice. And the smoke is very dense and chewy.
Yes.
Very dense and chewy smoke, which is a good thing. I like that smoke to be a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, being a Connecticut cigar, it's nice to have that little bit more robust smoke coming off it, which for the seasoned smoker is going to make it more enjoyable. But I think at least at this point, I'd still be happy to pass this cigar on to a new person to try. Yeah,
for sure. As I said, I think you said about the Connecticut. I think this is just making the Connecticut a lot more interesting. Yeah, it's a lot more interesting than your average Connecticut. It's got a lot more to it.
Well, I think just before you came on the show, I was saying that it's a Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, and every time we've had Ecuadorian wrappers, we've always loved the cigar.
Yeah.
And the filler in this is Dominican and Peruvian, so
nice.
I think it's the Peruvian tobacco that sets the cigar apart from others in.
Yeah, an Ecuadorian Connecticut, it has always been great. I think from memory, I think the white Monte Cristo White series was Ecuadorian as well. That was very nice. It was very yeah. What do you expect the burn time for this one?
Well, look, it's a little bit hard to tell because this really is just that tad bigger than a Robusto. I'm hoping that we can. I mean, look, a Robusto we normally get about 50 minutes.
Yeah, easily
out of a Robusto. Yeah. I'm hoping we can hit the 1 hour, maybe a bit over an hour out of this cigar.
I think it might go over an hour. This one.
Yeah, hour 10.
Yeah, that sounds about right. With being a Connecticut, but I think the combination of you said it was Dominican and what's a filler?
So Dominican and Peruvian are the fillers.
Okay, all right, that's a Peruvian filler then, because Dominican it's a touch more less. It's not as deep. The smoke is not usually as thick that comes out of Dominican fillers, but this is a lot more thicker and chewy smoke.
Look,
which I'm really enjoying.
When this has been smoked and reviewed by cigar panels, they've definitely given this cigar 90 plus ratings, 91, 90, 92. So, it's definitely living up to its reputation.
Yeah, for sure. As we were talking about, I think Davidoff don't usually have, average cigars. They do a really good job in terms of from fermentation to tobacco picking to rolling and aging, everything. Pretty good. What was your did you do a torch light or?
Yeah, so I just used my Perdomo jet lighter.
That's a nice hat.
I tell a lie. I cannot find. I have a hat just like yours, Damo, and I cannot find it. The one that I knew where it was this one, not that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you look a bit like Bob Catter with that one.
Well, listen. Just because you don't understand the country aesthetic now that I live out of the city, you city slickers, just showing no respect to the people that make your food. Yeah,
you look like one of those gay farmers that got kicked out of country.
Listen, just because I was cast as a extra in Brokeback Mountain.
Yes. Oh yeah, that sounds about right. Stu and I think the same. Great minds.
Yeah, you two blokes should hang out more.
Yeah, Stu.
When I say hang out, I'm going to take it off because it's too hot for a hat. I mean, I'm too hot in a hat. Sorry, is what I meant to say.
Damo never feels hot in a hat.
Damo's not even hot with Photoshop.
Damn. That's a bit personal.
I definitely agree with Stephen's comment. It's quite a easy retro hail.
Yeah, and I agree with Damo. On the side, he said to me that because I've been so dedicated cigar professor, he's getting me a MacBook Pro just because he can.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really lovely of him.
I don't know
how many of my cigars is he selling to fund the MacBook Pro.
You ask him, that's not my problem. That's the guy who wants it.
Yeah. Like I said, you would dominate a prison in El Salvador. Yeah.
What was David saying?
Well, that.
No cattle.
I mean, he's not wrong, but David, be aware, okay? I do have 5 chickens, so I'm not no cattle. That makes up about probably 3% of a cow, just by mass, by weight. So I'm all hat and 3% of one cow. Okay.
3% of a sheep, maybe.
Yeah.
Just about there.
Somewhere there. Yeah.
Yeah, you just graze it on the nature strip.
And look, I'm getting so good at this whole country living thing. I'm not even making this up. You're not going to believe me, but I'm not even making this up. I actually harvest my own eggs.
Wow. That's unheard of.
I know.
Did you have to import any machines from the United States to get that happen?
I did a course, actually. I did a course because I do it the old-fashioned organic way with hands.
You are old. You look old, but apart from that, yeah.
Yeah, they're organically harvested eggs.
That's nice. That's actually nice.
Mm.
You have to keep a couple of dozens when we come over.
Sorry, was that English?
No.
It didn't sound like it. I didn't hear that at all.
No.
Yes, well, you've already alluded to us coming over. That's one of the subject matter of the discussion tonight that we need to talk about is, are we going to get together and have our in-person herf next month?
Well, we need to. And we need to, because number one, it's been too long. It's been way too long since I've got to insult you to your face rather than through a computer. And so, we need to fix that. But also, because Daniel has been working very, very hard turning his tin shed into a tin shed that you can smoke cigars inside of.
Wow.
I know, right? Yeah. No, he's been doing a great job, actually. And he's lining the inside of it with all kinds of stuff. And there's couches in there. There's a bar. I believe there will be running water by the time we get down there, and or by the time you get down here. And if you're really, really lucky, there might even be a working toilet somewhere on the premises as well.
Wow.
I know.
That's amazing. That is wow.
Here you go. Here's an independent review. Independent review. Simon says, Dan's Cigar Lounge looks freaking amazing. It's pretty cool. I mean, understand, just because I don't want people to have the wrong impression, you are going to be walking towards a tin shed. That's what it is on the outside. But as we all know, as Damo has proved to us all, it's not how it looks on the outside that matters. It's what's on the inside. Yeah.
Okay.
So the question is, do we do on the live herf on the show night, or do we push the show night to the weekend and do it on a weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I reckon we've probably got to do it on a Saturday night, just to give people that are going to travel down from Sydney or up from Melbourne the chance to travel Saturday, enjoy the night Saturday night, find somewhere to stay Saturday night, and then head home on Sunday.
Okay.
Look, Friday can work, but Saturday would be better.
I think Saturday's the pick.
All right.
All right.
So we'll make next month's show, instead of being the last Wednesday of the month, we make it the Saturday.
Let's just check dates here.
Public holiday. That's a long weekend.
That is the Anzac Day long weekend. Is that good or bad? Everyone watching right now, there's a bunch of you watching. Let us know. Is the fact that it's the Anzac Day weekend good or bad from your perspective? Should we do it on that weekend or not?
And when is the Easter weekend?
Easter is the weekend before.
Oh, really?
So the Easter weekend includes Saturday the 19th, and then the following weekend is the Anzac Day weekend, which is Saturday the 26th.
So Friday's a public holiday for Anzac Day.
Correct. And then so people could take Friday off, come down whenever they want on the Friday.
Won't be working Friday.
Yeah, a lot of people won't be.
Another option. Anzac Day smoke.
That's a point. I mean, a lot of people do have plans on Anzac Day. I don't know, guys. Get in the comments. Let us know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Easter's out because too many people will already have plans for Easter. But I reckon, that Anzac Day weekend, either on the Saturday or the Friday. Yeah. No one's making any comments, so I don't know what that means.
So I'm checking the dates.
Comment there from Stephen. Where's the location? We'd be doing that in Albury.
In Albury. Yep. We're going to make you travel.
Yeah.
Mr. Stew is saying his secretary's checking the date. Peter, that's a shame. I'm so sorry to hear that. When as far as cutting it in half, both pieces were unsmokable. That's extraordinary. What humidity did you have them at, Peter? Just out of curiosity for me. Anzac, I've got a herf on Anzac, so I can't make it. Got kid duties that weekend. That's a shame, Simon. We can't really do the weekend before because that's Easter. We don't really want to do the weekend after because that's not that's in a different month.
The thing with true. So instead of Wednesday, it could be the 30th.
Yeah, right. 65 Boveda monitor says 67. That should be perfect.
That should be perfect, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate. It happens, as you know, but yeah, it sucks. I'm really sorry. So I'm going to watch online. All right, well, no one's objecting, really, apart from, unfortunately, Simon, who won't be able to join us. But at the same time, we're not really getting a lot of people saying whether they prefer the Friday or the Saturday, so that remains unknown.
Yeah.
Well, we've got one for Anzac Day anyway.
Well, I have Sam with me here. He said he'll be legless by lunch, but he'll make it. All right, excellent. Peter will be with us online. Stu, Tim, and Dan will be there. Stu says Saturday. I tend to agree. I think let's just let Anzac Day be Anzac Day.
Mm-hmm.
People will have their own plans, and some people will be working. But I think the Saturday. David's making excuses. It's only an 18-hour round trip, mate. Like, you could just drive down, smoke the cigar, and drive back.
Yeah, actually, be quicker if you flew. There's an airport there.
That's a good point. There is literally 7 minutes away. The planes come over the house. We get in the car and drive to the airport, and by the time we've parked and walked inside, the plane's landed and the passengers have gotten off.
There you go, David. Topher's offered to pick you up from the airport.
I will pick you up from the airport, David. I don't know who this is, but he's talking smack about me, so who cares? All right, so here's a plan. We've got to talk shop for 5 minutes so that Stephen can make it a business deduction. Stephen, that's a deal.
Actually, funny you should say that. I've actually got to do a business trip to Oaklands sometime in the next month. So I'll go down to Oaklands and then cut across to Albury, and that will be my business trip.
There you go. Udo, you will be missed. I'm sorry to hear that. So if you're marching on Anzac Day, though, is there any chance you could come down to Albury on the Saturday? No pressure, but I've day tripped to Sydney and back from Albury in the same day.
Still won the Ash Comp, but I've just lost it.
Yeah, I lost mine pretty early when I went and got my hat. As soon as I got back from getting my hat, as soon as I puffed again, it dropped. This is gorgeous, though. Just how effortless has this cigar been? Just
it's absolutely. That's a word. Effortless.
Yeah.
Effortless.
Yeah. No dramas.
Yeah.
Good flavor. Great burn.
Mate, that's good.
This is what you want a cigar to be.
Yeah.
Udo, I'm sorry to hear it, mate, but please do join us online. We'll be live streaming, even though it won't be at the usual time, obviously, but we'll live stream it.
I'm led to believe that Daniel's even had fiber internet installed to the shed so we can live stream. I mean, what dedication is that?
Tell you what. There you go. Caught up with Big Kev. Sorry, I missed that last bit.
He might deserve a cigar for that.
Yeah, maybe. I think so. So Simon reckons he caught up with Big Kev for a herf last Tuesday night. Yes, fond memories of the weekly herfs during COVID. Yeah, well, that's why we did it. That's how this whole shooting match got started.
Big Kev's a name we haven't seen on the show for a long time.
Been a little while. Well, Tim, that was just a special thing that I did when you guys were following me. I was trying to get you thrown in prison.
I thought Stu was going to get the deer.
It's Stu talking to Tim. I think he's trying to rope in a sidekick.
A sidekick.
Well, you know, if you don't get to shoot the deer, he can just shoot his sidekick, and we won't know that. We won't know any better.
Yes, well, I put my request in. I prefer a young chittle doe.
There you go. Well, I think Stu's response is going to be, "Well, go and find one."
Is Omar going to be bringing his infamous meatballs down?
They're not meatballs. My mix, yeah. My. Look, I can bring up them if you want to.
All right. Well, I was going to do my famous slow cooked coal roasted lamb.
Ooh.
But we can do a mix. Like
I could just bring lamb and then. Yeah, and you can do whatever you want to do with it.
Listen, mate, I've been hearing about these meatballs for how many years now?
Since COVID.
Right? I want to eat them and get it over and done with so I never have to hear about your balls again.
You like to have a little play with them, don't you?
I'm sick of Damo telling me how they're even better than Nick Perdomo's.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm back on the Nick fan page again, so.
Hey, wow.
You know what? I thought I better make it up to Nick, so I'm actually contemplating a future pack of being an all Perdomo pack again.
Tell you what, you get around, don't you? You just, available to the highest bidder, hey?
So,
right,
we are we done? Have you locked in the date? So it looks like I'm going away to the South Coast, so I have to do pretty heavy duty stuff to get out of it. So once you let me know, I start working towards that.
You got to start working on the exit strategy. Okay, we are locking in.
Professor, I'm sure I can do it as well.
Saturday, the 26th of April.
Yeah.
Dinner from, let's say, dinner at my house. We'll have dinner on my balcony from, let's say, 5 p.m.
Yep.
Then at about 7:30, we're all going to jump in cars. So don't get too hooked up too early. We're all going to jump in cars. It's about a 5-minute drive, not even, from here to Daniel's.
Yeah,
and then we do a herf inside the tin shed, inside the man cave.
The man cave. Okay.
Cigar Man Sam, you know it's cheap at twice the price. You should be honored that I would even let you in.
If you come down with Omar, he'll let you smoke in his car all the way down.
Oh, he will be smoking. He will be
passively or actively. You will be smoking.
He will be smoking for sure. What's the nicest hotel in Aubrey, Wodonga?
Look, none of the hotels are going to be up there with the nicest hotels in Sydney. They're all much more kind of functional there for, sort of more people that are traveling for work. If you want something nice, you're probably looking at an Airbnb or one of the bed and breakfasts just outside of town.
Yeah.
But I will say that when we ran the conference here, we put people up in a dozen different hotels, and everyone seemed happy with all of them. They're all perfectly serviceable, perfectly clean. But they're at that kind of 3.5, maybe 4-star budget sort of range rather than your 5-star luxury.
What about Mantra?
Mantra was fine. We had no complaints about the Mantra. I haven't stayed there myself because I've got this thing called a house.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, but you can't stay.
When I've been in Albury, I've stayed at the Quality Inn at Lavington. And the reason for that is they got a really nice steakhouse restaurant attached to the there, so I don't have to go far to go get a decent steak.
There's actually Lavington's just literally a suburb to the north of Albury. It's very, very close, and they've actually got some really nice sort of more motel sort of setups there, and some of them are really good.
There's about 3 or 4 on the stretch of road down that area.
Yeah, and some of them are actually. There was one someone visited was staying there, and I dropped them off there. And you drive in, and they've got this whole kind of big. Do you remember the old? Did you have Smorgies up in Sydney? Did you ever have Smorgies restaurants?
No.
Oh, Smorgies was an icon down in Melbourne. There were 2, maybe 3 of them, and they would build them from scratch. They were always a new build, and they built them as though they were a volcano with a building on the inside. And just like as a kid, because it was all you can eat, you'd walk up, you'd pay a fee, and then you could just go nuts on anything. There was no restrictions. As much meat as you wanted, as much dessert as you wanted, whatever. They had fresh donuts just being pumped out of a donut machine. You just press a button and you get fresh cinnamon donuts made for you right there in front of you. It was like it was the ultimate playground as a kid. So Smorgies was the thing. But anyway, the point being, the architecture was all this fake rock with kind of fake lava and lights and all the rest of it. There's a motel on that road in Lavington that you drive in, and down the back between the 2 buildings on either side, they've got a similar kind of looking thing. And I'm like, what in
that's the I think that's the Quality Inn.
Is it? Okay.
The Fiesta Resort Quality Inn.
The Fiesta Resort, that sounds more familiar. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So look, I don't know what the rooms are like. I just dropped somebody off, but boy, they put some work into that rock arrangement.
Really?
Yeah, it's cool, but it's slightly weird. It's like I'm not used to. I've stayed at heaps of motels over the years, going and filming videos and doing all sorts of stuff. They are usually very dreary places, but this one they actually put some work in.
Actually, the reason I like that particular one is they've got enough room to park a 14-ton truck and also able to park vehicles with trailers on it. So whenever I've either got a trailer or a truck, and it's a good spot to stop. A lot of hotels don't have room to park a truck off the road.
Yeah. Smorgies was awesome. The best news you could get as a kid was that you were going to have dinner at Smorgies. I did it maybe 3 times in my life because it wasn't cheap for a family with as many kids as ours did. But you would just eat until you could eat no more, and then you would keep eating, and then you would puke on the way home. It was just amazing.
Cool.
Well, because I've got to do my on a work day, looks like I'll be down in Albury the night before Anzac Day, so I'll be down there all day Anzac Day as well. So,
all right. Well, we'll have to make a time for us to hang out then.
yes. So if anyone else is down there on Anzac Day, I'm sure we can have
let us know.
Get together in herf as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got a balcony. I'm sitting on it now. It's a good spot for cigars. I might even let you join me up here. Sorry?
I said I hear the eggs are fresh there as well.
The eggs are fresh, but as if I'm going to give you some of my eggs. Gosh, don't you know they're organically harvested? I can't just use these eggs on anybody.
I'll trade you cigars for eggs.
Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. For those that are game...
Don't tell him I'll take it out of his stock.
For those that are game, if you're staying in Albury overnight, I will make you eggs Florentine at my house for breakfast on Sunday morning.
Egg Florentine. I haven't had one of those.
No.
That's it's Benedict, but on salmon.
Oh, yeah.
I will poach some of my organically harvested, hand harvested, lovingly picked up eggs from my chickens in my backyard on some store-bought salmon and some store-bought bagels.
Or maybe we can convince Tim and Stu to also wet a line in the local rivers or creeks and get some trout for us or something.
Well, it depends on how many diseases you want to catch, really. Mr. Stu, yes, if you'd be willing to help out with the hollandaise, that would be great. I attempted to make my own hollandaise. I found a recipe, and it does it the cheats way. It uses a little stick blender, which makes it a lot easier than doing it the genuine way. Is apparently I've never done it, but it's apparently quite hard. Anyway, I screwed up one. I can't remember what it was. I think it was just nowhere near enough lemon juice or something, and it just wasn't actually thickening. But Mr. Stu came to the rescue, and we ended up with a beautiful, beautiful hollandaise, courtesy of Mr. Stu Magic. So, yes, Mr. Stu, if I can enlist your help again on that front, that would be great.
Maybe we could actually run a masterclass with Omar, and Omar could actually teach us how to have a breakfast cigar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you were about to start talking about Omar's balls again. Okay, sorry. Hey, a breakfast cigar with eggs Florentine on the balcony on a Sunday morning sounds pretty good to me.
Damn, that sounds so good. So good. And plus, Damo's making coffee, yeah?
I hope so. All right.
I'll make sure I get some special coffee and bring it down.
Damo's
my batch brew machine so I can sort of, make 1.2 liters of coffee at a time.
Yeah, good, because there'll be a few of us, I reckon. All right, so Damo's on coffee. I'm on eggs Florentine. Mr. Stu is on the hollandaise sauce. And Omar, you're just going to freeload like usual.
Yeah.
On cigars.
And sorry. Yes. Yeah, cigars. Yeah, that's right. Cigars. So you're going to bring cigars that are brought from the cigar professor. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yes, that's it. That's right.
Yeah.
Look, there's not a lot of change in this cigar, but it's still just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I have had fleeting moments of that sort of licorice note that has become a little bit more like what Omar was saying, that sort of almost like fennel seed, aniseed sort of note to it.
Yeah. So that the only change for me has been that's actually kicked up a little bit more, and it's now getting quite fresh on the tip of the tongue. Not unpleasantly so. It's in the same place as white pepper, but it's got that menthol kind of nasal passage clearing kind of characteristic to it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go. It's a
still got that mentholy note on the retro as well.
Yeah.
But needless to say, it is such an easy, effortless cigar to smoke.
Yeah.
It's like a golf cigar.
Yeah.
Like a breakfast.
But that could be taken as an insult, and I know you don't mean it as one. It's not a cigar that you should just take for granted, but it is effortless.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful cigar for a Connecticut. It's got a lot of depth, flavor-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always tell an effortless cigar by the conversation that flows.
Yeah. Get always that. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm smoking mine a little bit fast. I've just removed the band, but I'm probably just over halfway through. Oh, I'm not that far ahead of you, Damo.
No, I'm finding it's quite moreish, which I mean is a good thing for a cigar. I mean,
yeah,
you know, a cigar that wants you to keep coming back again and again is definitely a good cigar in anyone's book.
Do you add spinach to your eggs, Florentine, or not?
I don't usually know anything green. I'm allergic to it.
What about capers?
Yeah,
I wouldn't object to some capers. That'd go down well, actually. But I wouldn't know. Do you just get them? Please don't shoot me. I'm genuine question, genuine ignorance here. Would you just buy like a jar of capers, or how would you get the right sort of capers?
Yeah, just buy the jar of capers.
Buy a jar. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be
you
a good.
Sell capers, do you, Omar?
Huh?
You don't sell capers?
Yeah, I can bring some capers.
Well, there you go. Omar can bring them. He's got
All
them.
right.
Just a couple of jars.
Yeah. Probably only one. I'd be more than enough. You only want a few capers on each plate.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah. Sounds good. Now, needless to say, we need to know numbers for this event. We've got to be able to bring the right amount of. Well, I've got to make sure. I've got to go and tell the chickens how many eggs they've got to lay on Saturday, so we can eat them on Sunday.
Stockpiling.
See how they feel.
No, I don't care how they feel. I'll tell them how many to lay.
You can start Easter early with the kids and tell them egg hunt every day.
Why aren't they chocolate? Shut up, kid. Just hand it over.
Oh, wow. That band, look at this, is just loose. Just slides straight off.
It reminds me of Topher. He's a bit loose.
Yeah.
Right.
Been saying that for years.
Yeah.
I completely expected and anticipated that. In my head, I heard you say that about 3 seconds before you opened your mouth.
She'd be all right.
Actually, do you want to know something really, really, really good about that Siesta Resort at Lovington?
Yep.
I can't wait.
I went into them and I just said to them, look, have you got a designated smoking area? Because I was down there with work at one point. I got there hours and hours earlier than anticipated, and I just wanted, sit back, cigar, chill after driving from Melbourne. And they said, just go out on the front of your balcony side of your room and shut the door. And as long as there's no neighbours outside either side, just go and don't worry about it. Just do it.
No. I'll be back in a sec.
That's the sort of motel you want. A motel that lets you, go out and enjoy a cigar.
Of a hotel you're allowed to, in a balcony.
A lot of them have no smoking premises.
Really?
But this particular one did. And they actually even said to me, they said, do you want us to find you an ashtray? And I said, it's all right. I've got one of my own. I mean, how cool is that? They actually said, do you want us to find you an ashtray? Like, it is so refreshing not to be treated as a dirty criminal and to actually be accepted and even assisted in enjoying your pleasure. So I thought that was quite nice.
It is a very rare thing these days. So Sparks a lot. I didn't just shed a tear. I made a video about it.
Boys, what a pairing that is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing with this cigar. It just turned out to be just perfect.
I'm going to regret this. That's a pretty good pairing too.
Danger.
Omar can bring a case of it with him.
We can bring some mixed bag of drinks.
Actually, the worst thing about, so Sparks a lot has just mentioned about the tax increase. It's not just that. They've actually banned, start of 1st of April, flavour and infused tobacco is now banned.
Yeah.
So clove, any pipe tobacco is going to be banned because all pipe tobacco is infused.
Yeah. I think they're just doing stupid things, like absolutely stupid things.
But they're stupid people. Like they don't know what else to do.
Yeah. So obviously, yeah.
And we're so far out of step with the rest of the world. Even the other countries that have high taxes on their tobacco, like the UK, have embraced vaping. In New Zealand has embraced vaping, but now over here we've banned it. You know, the US, the UK, etc. They recognize the difference between cigars and cigarettes. We don't.
Yeah.
Nah.
You would think with the desperate want of money by our government that rather than banning vaping, they would have just added a tax to it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would have been a less bad way to go, but either option is stupid.
Oh, look, I don't agree with it, but I just thought, you know, well, why ban it? Just tax it, and they can make more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, I've taken a leaf out of the Teals playbook here. I say one thing, but I do something completely different. Okay, so just if you've got a problem with that, go and talk to what's his name, Holmes of Court, or Mike Cannon Brooks. Go talk to Mike Cannon Brooks about it. Ask him for a lift in his jet.
Was it the guy that was morally convicted?
Yeah, I'm conflicted. He was the moral agony he would have felt as he spent $75 million on a private jet so he could spend more time with his son would just be awful.
It's very awful.
That they are some shoes that I would humbly try to walk in, just so I can appreciate the dilemmas that face them.
Look, I think Mike really has shown himself to just be very, very wasteful. And I have some authority to be able to speak on this because I can say, and this is true, you won't believe me, but this is true. I have never spent more than $25 million on a private jet. Never in my life.
Never.
And he went ahead and spent 75. So I think he's just really shown his hand here.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Jealous?
Mm-hmm.
Mostly.
Yeah. Damn.
Hey,
he hasn't even invited me for a ride.
Wouldn't that be good if one day we charter a plane and we can all smoke cigars on and actually have a cigar professor live herf on a private jet, all smoking cigars?
You know the irony? I don't believe they could legally do that in Australia. If one of us owned the jet, I believe we could. But the moment there's money involved, the moment it's been chartered or anything, no matter how much they want to allow it, they're not legally able to.
What happens once we get into international airspace?
Not sure. That's a thought.
Yeah. Somewhere like Fiji or something, then you can.
Oh, we just, take off out of Albury here. 45 minutes later, you'd be in international airspace out over on your way to New Zealand. Obviously, don't go all the way. No one wants that. But, turn around before you get there. But head in that direction.
Yeah, we can go and watch the Chinese fire live missiles.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Fly down nice and low so we can see it up close.
Well, look, needless to say, if China took over this place, the price of tobacco would plummet.
Hey, I'm sold. And if I learnt Mandarin, then I might be able to start reading the packets.
I tell you what, if it does happen, it won't be an invasion. It'll be a change of hand. It's going from one hand to another hand.
It'll be an administrative change. It won't be a military one.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, don't fear a Chinese invasion with troops. Just their invasion has already started. I genuinely believe that history will look back and say that World War III has already started, but that there was a long, probably a decade and a half long information warfare campaign that preceded any shooting.
I believe the World War III started straight after World War II because there's never a day where there wasn't a war since then, somewhere in the world. The low-intensity conflicts were constantly happening, and it's still happening everywhere.
let me put a different lens on that, though. The post-World War II era, the 70, 80 years we've had since then, have been historically way more peaceful than any other century in history. Because we hear about every war, we don't think that's true. Because we're living today, obviously, we don't think that's true. But if you actually look back, there is no peace. Humans are not capable of peace for more than a few years at a time.
Yeah, I need to look at some numbers around the world. Total deaths with military or slow intensity conflict from 1946 onwards. I reckon it goes past the Second and First World War. That's my opinion.
Cumulative, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, if you factor in if you factor in the losses on the Eastern Front during World War II, though, the Russians were just throwing meat. You know, they lost 20 million or something people on the Eastern Front, so that'd take some catching up to.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what I find quite ironic? Like, you know, I'm not pro-Russia, I'm not anti-Russia, but West so often forget that we were on the same side as them during World War II.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, how good was it?
We totally forget that.
Yeah. How good was it?
And to be honest, if it wasn't for them, the war would have been a lot different to what it is.
Well, what's his name? Trudeau, when he was Prime Minister of Canada, went and had a Nazi in the Canadian Parliament as a guest of honor, and they all applauded him. And he was introduced as a person who fought against the Russians during World War II. You're like, yeah, you know who fought against the Russians? You know, who was German and fought against the Russians during World War II? It was the Nazis.
Yeah.
And they all stood up and applauded.
Just to play on the words.
Mind you, I must admit, when Tucker Carlson went over to Russia and took footage of day-to-day life around in there,
yeah,
I must admit there was a degree of envy of how nice and how clean and how civil and how organized life seemed to be in modern Russia from the perspective it was presented in that doco.
So allow for a certain degree of Potemkin village. You know, keep in mind what North Korea has done with useful idiots over there. I think Tucker has, and look, I've got a lot of time for Tucker, but I think that he wasn't as astute as he needed to be. Yep. That he was viewed by Russia as a information coup, as an opportunity to speak directly to the West. So I think we can safely say that is the best of Russia. Yeah. That's not representative of the experience of most Russia. Yeah. However, you'd be hard pressed to find that in America or I would hasten to say in Australia either. Certainly what it shows is that Russia is not the depressed, Cold War Soviet place that we picture in our minds.
Yes. I would like to hear from David, if he's still watching, how he's finding this cigar.
Yeah. I'm finding the flavor profile has definitely picked up. I'm now in the final third. It's definitely gotten bolder. It's very similar flavor profile, but it's all just gone up a notch or two in intensity.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little bit, just a little bit dry on the palate now as well.
Little bit. I've got my black tea. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah. So my two beverages tonight are English breakfast tea and a ginger ale.
Nice. I have the cheapest 4 cents per tea bag black tea that I can get from Coles, and the fizzy bin juice.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm using Aldi brand black tea.
Oh, wow! You wastrel, you. Well, I tell you what, I am not having many cigars these days, and that it really is causing me to enjoy the ones I have that much more. This is absolutely gorgeous.
It is a very good cigar for sure.
So this is David's reply. It's nice, a bit dry. I think we agree with that. It's certainly towards the end, it's been drier on the palate. No nicotine, so that's consistent with what you were describing, Damo.
Yep.
Reminds David of the Rocky Patel ALRs.
Another great stick.
Another great stick. Peter, I don't know if you've seen some videos on that recently. I interviewed Aussie Reviews, courtesy of Mr. Stew, actually. He's the one that made that introduction a little while ago. And I did another video on that recently. You would have seen the fear campaign around the supposed million illegal guns that are all over Australia. We're apparently awash with illegal guns. I think that's probably true, but that doesn't make the point that they think it does. They think that we should all be scared. But actually, if you stop and think about it, you go, well, there's 4 million legal guns and 1 million illegal ones. And yet, in 2023, which is the most recent year we have data for, there were 27 murders involving guns in this country. 27. Out of 5 million guns that are out there, including 1 million illegal ones, which are presumably in the hands of some unpleasant people.
Yeah.
How can you conclude that guns are a problem after that?
Well, you know what I say to that? It's nice to see that the criminal element and the gangs are showing some constraint.
This is the thing. If you actually do the numbers, if there's 5 million guns out there, which have killed 27 people, but the overall murder rate for that year was 247 from 25 million Australians, then actually guns are less likely to kill you than just a random Australian.
Yep.
A random Australian is twice as deadly as a gun in Australia.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, you're more likely to die of COVID than you are to die of guns.
Or flu, for that matter.
You know what? Maybe they should outlaw COVID, and that would fix the problem.
They should have banned it. That would have solved it.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
We're passing legislation. COVID is now illegal. It's banned. Would have fixed the problem.
Done. Then we wouldn't have had to jolly well lock up Novak Djokovic.
That's right.
We do live in a clown world, don't we?
It is.
Well, the other thing I find quite ironic, it's the million that they know about. It's interesting how many they don't know about.
Well, that's true. And they reckon that only 13% of that million, and obviously they're estimating, they're making big assumptions out of relatively small amounts of data. But they reckon that 13% of them used to be legal firearms, i.e. they were stolen or lost or what have you, which means that 87% of this million, so 870,000 guns, were never registered. And some people have tried to say, they weren't handed in during the amnesty in 1996. But actually, I can't remember who it was, but they came out with their report saying 1 million guns, reckon that well over half of them have been imported since then.
Mm-hmm.
So for an island nation that has banned guns for 3 decades, we don't seem to be doing a very good job of keeping them out, which then, exactly to your point, means that people aren't shooting each other not for a lack of hardware, but because they're choosing not to.
I mean, the one thing that doesn't get well publicized was when the police switched over to Glocks. One of the first shipping containers of Glocks that were brought into the country for the police was stolen from the port. Few hundred Glocks just went missing like that, and boy, did they try hard to keep that one low profile.
I didn't even know about that.
Wow.
Yep. So
that's amazing. I do know that a couple of Australian styers have ended up on the other side of the world. Some of them are actually found in a weapons cache for the IRA. Obviously, after all the troubles, because we adopted the styer after the worst of the IRA troubles. But it was still, when it was all, the very end of all of that was still petering on. One of the weapons caches they found had Australian Army issue styers, the Australian made ones, not the Austrian ones, the Australian made ones.
Look, that's the thing with criminals. They're criminals because they'll break the law and they'll do whatever the hell they like because they don't care about following the law.
I'm having a great time following the saga of my podcast buddy Carly. She lives in this sort of community that's it's not a gated community, but it's a community, and they're in uproar at the moment because people aren't obeying the 50 kilometre an hour speed limit on some of the side streets. And their solution is that they're pushing for a 30-kilometer-an-hour speed limit.
Oh, my.
And she's tearing her hair out going, wait. You think that by reducing the speed limit from 50 down to 30, the people that are ignoring the 50 will pay attention to the 30? Like that's your logical argument here? And they just can't see it.
Yeah.
It is one of the problems with modern society, and I dare say from a result of our educational system in the West, not just our country.
What educational system in the West?
But people can't think through problems logically. I think that, I'm not a great chess player. I understand the basic tenets of chess and can fumble my way to starting a game. I never win one, but it's like the world needs to get back to learning how to play chess, where you actually look at how one move plays out over multiple steps ahead, and actually having the mental capacity to forecast, do this and then that, or this will happen, and then the next move to that, and then, try and play a sequence of events in your head forward to try and work out which outcomes are the best to follow. And people just can't seem to do that these days.
Well, just look at the decisions our politicians make. They're not thinking about second and third order effects. They're thinking about, if I do this, what will the effect be? But they never think about what is the effect of the effect. How do people respond to that effect? Because take the tobacco situation as a classic example. They say, oh, we'll raise prices on tobacco. Less people will be able to afford it, so people will quit smoking. Well, hang on. The first order effect, people won't be able to afford it. That's true. But what's the effect of the effect? It's not that people quit. It's that they go to the black market. So they don't think the second order, the third order effect. What's the effect of the effect of the effect? And that's when you start to get the real policy nuance, is to actually go, well, what's the effect? What's the effect of the effect? And what's the effect of the effect of the effect? And now you'll start to understand what's really going to happen. But they don't get rewarded for thinking things through. They get rewarded for headlines and cheap sort of media sound grabs.
Yeah, well, that's all it's about. It's about being seen to do something that's going to get them votes at the next election. Doesn't matter whether what they do is good or bad, as long as it gets them the publicity and people thinking that they've done something good for society.
Is this the bit where I'm supposed to hold up my book and say, you can read more about this in my book, Good People Break Bad Laws, where I talk about perverse incentives and the do something reflex?
Look, I offered you a segue. It's whether you want to take it or not.
I don't have a book with me, so I can't hold it up. GoodPeopleBreakBadLaws.com. Yeah. No, it's amazing. And this is basic stuff. But I think the solution actually lies. It's a little bit oddball, but follow me here. The solution lies in a restoration of meritocracy. The fundamental problem is that we're telling people that they get a prize, that we're telling people that they deserve an outcome, the same as that person over there, regardless of whether they've done what that person over there has done. And if people actually had to endure the consequences of their own actions, they would very quickly, through painful experience, begin to think more deeply about what they're doing and what the consequences are going to be. We just need to remove a lot of the safety nets and actually let people experience the consequences of their action. No more participation trophies. No more patting people on the back and saying, oh, you poor thing, you must be oppressed because you didn't get the same result as somebody else. It's like, no, you want a better result, make better decisions. And very quickly, people will start to do that.
Well, you can even see, like, in the play equipment in the kids' playgrounds. Like, when I was a kid, there was plenty of play equipment that you could easily do some serious damage, if not kill yourself. Some of the climbing rigs were, my goodness, must have been 6-7 meters off the ground. If a kid had fallen flat and land on their head, they'd be dead. Yeah. But you learnt you'd have a fall and you'd get a bit of a severe injury from it and you'd recover. And next time you're on it, you knew to hold on for damn dear life because you didn't want to repeat that again.
Well, we had multiple kids break their arms. So I went to a public school for about 3 years before I started homeschooling. And we had some double-decker play equipment. Tall enough that an adult could stand up underneath. You wouldn't want to, you had to be a bit careful. The teachers had to be a bit careful not to whack their heads, but it was a decent height. And then there was another level above that. And off that level, we were jumping all the time. It was all tan bark down the bottom. We would play tigging. We'd be jumping off that and all sorts of stuff. And they had two poles that came down and they were held on by a short link of chain at the top and then anchored to the ground with a short link of chain at the bottom. And in between was a continuous metal pole. And I remember one time I was up there on the platform and a kid came running past me, jumped and grabbed the pole to then kind of swing around the pole and slide down. But the chain at the top gave way. It had obviously just been, hanging on for dear life for a couple of decades by then, probably. And so he literally just rode this pole all the way down horizontally, and he landed on his feet, rolled, and kept running. It's like, okay, well, that pole's broken now.
Yes, and I think this is one of the biggest. I mean, look, this is playing into my skill set. My skill set is risk analysis, particularly in explosives and fireworks, and I have opportunities to go out. I've got to do tests and training and stuff like that. And when I'm doing the tests and the training, you push the boundaries in a safe environment.
Yeah.
And you quickly learn, go, ooh, that could have been nasty. Ooh, yeah. I didn't think of that. And it gives me the ability then, when I'm actually in a situation where I really have to make sure that the risks are tightly managed, to actually perceive outside of the black and white textbook, to understand all of the real risks and how to put them into proportion. But not only that, also learn how to value risk. Some risks are acceptable. Something may go wrong, but the consequences are not that great. Yeah. But you have a lot of book-trained people, particularly work health and safety managers in that, who have got no real-world experience, and it's all about eliminating all risk all the time, and effectively nothing can get done. And I'm working at the moment as a consultant on a project which I can't disclose much information, but they've been issued a directive from the authorities, from the government, to do a certain job, but they've also been issued by the authorities that they can't relocate or move the stuff that needs to be done elsewhere. But they're also being told they're not allowed to do the job where it lies in wait at the moment because it's too dangerous and too much of risk. So we need you to do this job, but we won't let you move or relocate.
You can't do it there, and you can't take it elsewhere.
Exactly. And I'm the one that's been brought on as a consultant to try and negotiate with the authorities and make them see reason. And then I was speaking to the authorities the other day, and I said to them, look, I understand the need for safety, and I'm not trying to do anything unsafe, and I'm not proposing to do anything unsafe. But the reality is, when you guys wrote the law, this situation wasn't considered, and no provision was given. Now, the problem is, you want this situation to be made safe. My client wants the situation to be made safe. I want the situation to be made safe. We all want to go home. We all want to be with our families and our kids and live to see Easter and Christmas. But with what you're requiring, the job will never happen. If we stay at the status quo, we will all be dead, and the job will still be undone. Yeah. But they just can't get their head out of that mindset of acceptable risk. And it's like there is no risk that is acceptable.
Here's the thing: in your line of work, you are the subject matter expert. You are trained, licensed, and insured to solve exactly these sorts of problems. That's literally what you do. Yeah. But what's interesting to me, and I have held off doing a video on this, but it's slowly getting closer to the top of my list, is the safety culture long ago ceased being about safety. It's not actually about eliminating all risk of actual harm. It's about eliminating all risk to the person that signed off on it from a career point of view. Yeah. Right. It's the same reason when you start up a modern car, the screen will come up with a little warning that says you have to obey all the road rules. That's not there because it's going to change your behavior. No one who is going to go and do burnouts at the local roundabout is going to change their mind and decide not to do those burnouts because they had to click a little message on the screen. It's not there for the driver. It's there so that if anyone ever tries to sue the manufacturer can point to that and say, oh, no, but. And that's what these compliance people are doing, is they're not actually, they've gone way beyond being concerned about the real world outcomes, and they are just concerned about making sure that there's nothing that could possibly come back and haunt them in their cushy little career.
See, I had 2.5 hours of video conference calls today over yet another project that I'm working on. And it's to make safe a situation from a industrial accident. Right. The site has been cordoned off and no one else is allowed on site until it's been made safe. And I haven't had the privilege of being on site there yet, But the amount of discussion that we've had about mitigating risks and all the control measures that put in place that they want before I even get to go on site to assess to be able to do the job is insane.
Yeah.
Like they want, I'm like, I haven't been there yet. I haven't been able to see, assess and look. Yeah. And they've sent me some photos. I said, look, the photos are a great start and I can see some immediate things, but the amount of red tape that they wanted done for me to even be allowed to come on site to assess the risk, to then actually try and work out how to solve their problem for them is just unbelievable. It's like, look, I'm not planning on doing anything. I just want to turn up and actually get my own eyes on the situation and walk around and take photos and take measurements and look at everything that's gone on and try and piece together what's happened, what has it done, and what are the likely consequences of it. But no, it's they're just so risk adverse. It's insane. Even the guy that is contracting me to do the work is pulling his hair out because it's like they're trying to tie both your arms behind your back and expect you to work miracles and not let you do anything. So
well, I don't know who this Mr. Stew bloke is or what kind of a show he thinks he tuned into, but he seems to think this is a cigar show, not an occupational health and safety.
No, not at all.
So, but Omar, how's your cigar?
As we spoke about, it's pretty effortless. I think the now it's more of a spearminty thing coming up. It's more pronounced.
Yeah,
and it's you feel the tip of your tongue, and it's there. But with a bunch of cedar as well. A cedar is very, very up there.
Yeah,
it's a very good cigar. I think we would reach out for it anytime after that.
For sure.
Any beginner, experienced smoker, beautiful cigar.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely hit an hour 10 and a bit more on that.
Hour 15.
Yeah.
I think I'm almost a bit ahead of you guys. At least Damo is a bit slow, maybe.
I'm done. I'm going to put it down. It's become quite sharp now. It's one of those cigars that has a turn, and it has turned on me right at the very end there. That spearmint has become so bold that it's become a little bit unpleasant. So I'm going to put it down. But what a beautiful stick!
Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely one you'd have again, without a doubt.
100%.
Now, Mr. Stew's asking the big question here. How many of these left?
Good question. There's plenty, put it that way.
And Mitty, welcome. I don't think I've seen your name before, so welcome. Thanks for joining us here on the Cigar Professor. We were talking about, Damo works in demolitions and explosives and disposal of dangerous chemicals and things like that. So without being too specific about the job, because I don't know what job it is either, we were talking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And welcome to the Cigar Professor. If you're a cigar smoker, let us know what you're having tonight. And if not, well, hopefully we can teach you a bit about the hobby.
Stu, just to put that in context to your question, there's a few boxes worth there.
A few boxes. I have a sneaking suspicion Mr. Stew is going to say, no, there's not. Don't judge me, Omar. I can see you sitting there judging me.
Remedy.
Dan, we can't talk prices on the show, unfortunately. Australian law being what it is. But you know how to get in touch with Damo.
Send me a PM. I'll talk to you during the week.
Yeah. Ah, there you go. You can also buy them from Enmity. Okay. Oh, well, we'll have to get to know you a little bit, Enmity. Sounds like you're in the game as well.
Starting to get a little bit of an uneven burn towards the end, but it might be just where my fingers were soaking a bit of moisture into the tobacco leaf when I was holding it earlier.
That's turned on me. I'm done. I'm literally done.
Yeah. It's again, actually, that kind of reinforces David Leinhelm's comment about it being like the ALRs, because they were a cigar that had a really clear, particularly when they were younger. As they aged, I think that smoothed out a little bit. But in the first 2.5, 3 years that we had them, they had a really clear turn on them, and this definitely had a turn.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, I found a couple of loose nub cigars when I was digging around for filling some orders that were in with these packs the other day. They must have been one of the nubs that we had early on in the piece. And the cellophane on those is a lovely tea-coloured brown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That would be good. That would be good.
Original batch that you bought?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
You just got to dig around in the corners of the tubs where Mr. Damo, Professor Damo, keeps them all, and you'll find all the really goodies in the corners.
That's right.
All right. Well, so how do we do this then? Because we need to know numbers.
Yes.
Should we send out an email?
We do. We send out an email. We'll also put a event on the Facebook page in our group.
Yep.
And within the study group, so people can who aren't tuned in on this will also get notified, and through the emails we'll send that out as well. Yeah. And we'll do that in this coming week, and give everybody say a couple of weeks to respond, and take it from there. Yeah,
good. Just so we can make sure we got enough chairs inside the smoking cave, and I've got enough eggs for breakfast on Sunday.
Dan might have to go to a trip up to Sydney to IKEA just so he can buy, or Melbourne to IKEA so he can buy some more chairs for the cave.
Oh, we'll sort something out. Don't worry.
Beautiful stick.
Yeah, magnificent. Well, that'll be good. So next month the weather should still be good, but if we waited another month until May, it probably would have turned cold. So I reckon April's the right time to do it.
Yeah, just a nice little bit of crisp, fresh air at night time. Yeah. Perfect time.
It'll be nice and cool outside, but it won't take long to warm up inside the shed with I don't know, maybe 15, 20 of us in there. Should be nice and toasty.
Yeah, very toasty.
Mm.
You might have to put a chimney on the shed as well to let all the smoke right there.
There'll be people standing outside watching the colour to find out if we've got a new pope or not.
Yeah, I think I'm almost at the end of this one. So
yeah. I've just
it's a fantastic stick, Damo. As always, an absolute credit to you and your bloodhound skills on the cigars. Wonderful stick.
Perfect.
Well, an hour and 20 minutes for Damo, hour and 15 for the rest of us, and about 30 seconds of just continuous inhaling for Omar. A beautiful stick. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. Keep an eye out for that email. Make sure you do reply and let us know if you are going to come. That way we can just make preparations and all of that. But besides that, have a great month. We'll see you at the next one.
See you at the next one. Out.